So, we were kind of in this discussion, and I really would love for you to fill in everybody in the audience about this whole holistic approach to quarterback play. So backstage, we kind of began a discussion that was really interesting. And, you've had a lot of experience working with a lot of named guys. You told me, you've had the opportunity to do a little work with Quincy Avery, correct?
Yeah, 5 years. Last couple of years of high school, and then most of my time in college. Yeah.
And then you've had the opportunity to work with Tom House, which is the big wig on the East Coast and pretty much the big wig out there on the West Coast.
Well, the legendary man out on the West Coast. Yeah, he's a legend. Absolutely. 75.
So, we were kind of in this discussion, and I really would love for you to fill in everybody in the audience about this whole holistic approach to quarterback play. Backstage, we were kind of talking about, that word has meaning. And at the same time, it's kind of like, what does the meaning mean? and it can mean different things depending upon who the coach is, the quarterback coach, the organization, and their philosophy. But you in particular have had some chance to kind of go through some of the information when it pertains to Tom House and, more importantly, Tom Brady. What does that mean? What do they mean when they say holistic?
Yeah. And so, okay, I'll kind of start off by kind of saying the same thing we were talking about earlier. Like, the holistic approach can mean so many different things. And there's too many quarterback coaches out there today that are trying to say, okay, the holistic approach means, okay, you have to do everything in your body, whether it's footwork need to be great, arm path needs to be great, the ground force production that you create needs to be great. And that as a whole, in terms of what you eat, how you condition, turns into this holistic approach of playing quarterback. Well, that doesn't take you further, because you see so many guys that are so talented that never pan out, whether it's the Ryan Leafs of the world or, Jamarcus Russells, that were so athletically talented at their position at quarterback, then they still flaked out in the NFL. And so guys start to take that further and say, okay, you don't need this holistic approach to just include the body. You need to include the mind. The quarterback's the hardest position to play in all of sports. And because you need to know what you're doing, what you need to read, which is very hard, and all the pressure's on your shoulders anyway. Then you still need to be able to tell the other 10 guys on the team what to do. And then you need to know what the guys on defense are doing. The 11 guys on defense know what they're doing. And then you now need to be able to manipulate what they're doing to have your way. And so you can start to incorporate the mind and how you manipulate defenses, and how you get coverage tells by motioning or things like that, and your mental processes. How do you go through reads? And then some guys even have that, and they can't handle the stress or the pressure of the position. And so then you start to now include you need mental emotional management. And that's where kind of like I've learned from Tom House, where in my opinion, that's kind of where the entire holistic view it comes from. It's your mind, your body, your soul, and everything that encompasses who you are is kind of that holistic approach that now we need to start talking about with quarterback play. So with Tom House, we talk about correct biomechanics and kinetic sequencing, throwing hard, easy, essentially. So, everything starts from the ground up. The ground force you produce comes up through the kinetic chain into your hips, into your shoulders as they disassociate. And then you have a torso flexion, and the arm just whips like a towel. There's too many guys that throw with their arm rather than allowing the arm to just follow the path that your body's creating if you have correct kinetic sequencing. And that you see too many pitchers, outfielders, quarterbacks blow out UCLs, blow out rotator cuffs because they're throwing with their arm. And there's guys that can get away with it. One of my best friends, not going to name names, he throws. He just got drafted into the NFL this year. He's going to do great things, but there's things that he needs to work on because he's throwing all arm, and he fell in the draft a couple rounds just because of some of the issues that he may have there, and how they're like, okay, like he's an athletic freak. He's going to be amazing, but we look at him as a project because there's a couple things that he might need tweaking. But moving on from the biomechanics and the kinetic sequencing, okay, it encompasses what we eat. To kind of debunk a rumor No offense to Tom Brady. I'll see you out in June in San Diego when I'm working with Tom. But the TB12 method is Tom House's plan and process just on steroids based on the age that he has. And so for me, I follow the TB12 method, more the Tom House method, where I still can eat strawberries and mushrooms and some of the things that Brady like completely cuts out, although they're good fruits or vegetables or nightshades that are good for you. Brady cuts those out simply just because they promote inflammation in the body, and his body needs more. He needs more to recover rather than someone like me who's 23. He'll be 24 in June. My body can recover a little quicker, especially following the diet and nutrition tips that they give us. So we try to eat a holistic meal that encompasses complex carbs, that encompasses grass-fed protein, very similar to the Tom Brady method. The less legs, the better. So you're better off eating fish than chicken, but then you're better off eating chicken than beef. But again, it's good as long as it's kind of the grass-fed organic. Taking organic fish oil pills to kind of help promote growth in the body and stuff as well is something that we do. But the biggest change for me whenever I started working with Tom was the type of water you drink. And that kind of gets into kind of the middle processing that I'll kind of start talking about too. But I've been someone who's only drank 2 sodas in my entire life. I'm not a big fan of carbonated water, not a fan of alcohol and all that kind of stuff. And so it was never a problem for me to like cut out sodas or anything like that, like some athletes have issues doing. And granted, the 2 sodas, yeah. But see that, and then the 2 sodas I've drank in my entire life were Sprites when my mom forced me to drink it with a stomach ache in middle school. So I really shouldn't even count those because I never chose to drink it. But I mean, the type, I used to be a big Gatorade drinker, and in reality, it gives you electrolytes, but it's packed with sugar, and the sugar eats away at your joints. And that's why, for example, that's why Tom Brady doesn't eat strawberries, or guys like Drew Brees don't have caffeine because it's a dehydrant. And so there's different reasons for the different dietary nutritional guidelines, but with the water, we could talk about the acidity of our blood. And so, with Tom, I've learned that through in your bloodstream, you've got a pH level of a 7.5 pH, that your blood has to stay, or you die. So everybody's body is currently right now fighting to stay at a 7.5 pH level. So the higher the number, the less acidic it is. The lower the number, the more acidic it is. And you look at Gatorades, you look at Powerades, you even look at Dasani water. They're not that good. They're in the 4.0 range, which is very acidic. I mean, Coca-Cola and Pepsi is more acidic. I mean, they use Coca-Cola to clean off stuff. So I'm an Atlanta guy through and through. Love Coca-Cola, even though I don't drink it. But it's bad for you. I mean, they use it to clean things because it disintegrates everything it touches. So why would you want to put that stuff in your body? But in reality, if you drink alkaline water, like essential water is what we're really kind of partnered with over at Tom House Sports. I mean, drink the 9.5 pH water, and it will start to clear up your mental processing. You'll start to feel like you can focus more. And what that allows you to do is, as an athlete, especially, but even just as a normal individual, if your body's not focusing on trying to survive, and your body can now easily keep the 7.5 pH level of your blood, your body can now become like go in performance mode. And that's where you can be the most successful because your body's not focusing on survival. But then we add in the mental emotional pieces too, to be able to go in with that it factor, and then go in to a situation and be able to visualize going through reads, knowing what you're doing, and staying green in that kind of Mushin kind of state that you see a lot of the Japanese and Chinese like karate fighters talk about. Like Tom Brady, for example. Tom Brady can walk through a gate into a football field, and just because he sees the green grass, he's green, and he doesn't fall out of the zone at all. So Mushin is the same as the zone. And so and the great thing about the zone is it's contagious. Tom Brady can go and dap somebody up, and he's green. Okay, you dap somebody else up, he's green. And then before long, you've got all 11 guys green, firing on all cylinders. They keep their focus. Some guys fall out of the zone and then have to get back in the zone, but Brady's all the time. He's green. And so to take that from what we need to look at in the film room to be the best quarterback we can be, to taking it on the field and be able to visualize and actualize this stuff, to make correct throws, to make correct reads with the great biomechanics that we're functioning with now. And I mean, and then being able to handle the stress. I mean, being an NFL quarterback, being a CFL quarterback, heck, I've been an arena quarterback for a little bit of a year with 2 different teams. There's still pressure there. It's professional athletics. I mean, there's so many guys that are so talented, so great. And I even saw a tweet earlier today that was like, it was like a video of a high school quarterback throwing, and a guy quoted it by saying something like, these high school quarterbacks today are better than any of the starting or 95% of the starting quarterbacks in the NFL in 1995. And those are the guys that I'm competing with, and the guys that I will be competing with in a couple of years. And so you have to be at the top of the game, because if not, you're out the door. And so that kind of encompasses the whole holistic kind of approach and aspect to quarterback play, quarterback training, quarterback performance. That I've kind of learned through Tom House